Afternoon everyone, this is my third update for my year in hill climbing. It's just a few days after the May meeting for the Harewood Hill Climb Championship. This weekend was a double-header event with the British Hill Climb Championship on the Sunday. I just entered the Saturday for the Harewood Championship. But I was still at Harewood. I was marshalling for the British Championship guys on Sunday. Saturday for me was pretty crap. As you've seen in the last update, I just got some new Toyo R888s fitted with a new set of wheels, thanks to Ricky. Because they were brand new tyres, they were coated in release agents and all sorts of crap from manufacturing. I kind of set aside a couple of practice runs in the morning to get them scrubbed in, but it took both practice runs just to get the front tyres scrubbed in, which then meant I was eating into the timed runs, still fighting with the tyres. You'll probably see in the onboard videos that I've done at this meeting, I'm soaring at the wheel all over the place, just trying to keep it in check really. On the first few runs before I swapped the tyres front to back, the back tyres were pretty much no grip whatsoever, which was amazing amounts of fun, but it wasn't quick at all. Having said that, even though I was fighting with the tyres, I still ran 74 seconds up the hill. It's not a quick time, but to say how much time I was spending just trying to keep the car going, I think that was pretty good really, in the grand scheme of things anyway. After the first timed run, I swapped the tyres, after the second practice run, I swapped the tyres front to back, so I had the newer unscrubbed tyres on the front. My plan was just to set off a little bit more enthusiastically off the line and get them spun up and scrubbed in off the line, because obviously there's no tyre warming or tyre cleaning before the start at Harewood. But off the line, I balanced the clutch a little bit, kept the slip off the line to a minimum, and just used that run up the hill to get the front scrubbed in. Again, fighting with the tyres all the way up the hill, not efficient at all. On that run, I think was 74.2.3 or somewhere around there. So even though I was on tyres that were throwing me all over the place, I was only half a second off my quickest time. So there's definitely more coming in the car and me. Second timed run was appalling. Jumped out of gear off the line, and then coming up to country corner, popped out a second coming into the corner. Accelerated up through around Farmhouse Corner, and as I'm coming up the straight to Quarry, go for third, and it popped straight back out a third. Pushed it back in, and it went straight past one of the the linkages on the sat shift had come off the gearbox end. At some point the little retaining pins have popped out or gone AWOL, so one of the linkages came off for the gearbox end on the sat shift. Luckily it did slot into third as the linkage came off, so I could pretty much coast across the line in third, just to get off the course, which was pretty crap really. Pretty much halfway up that straight and around the last corner I was coasting along, which still gave me a time of 80 seconds, so not really the end of the world to say I wasn't anywhere near the power for quite a lot, well, what felt quite a long time. I'll try and work out how much time I lost, but looking at the previous sector times on that run, it was going to be quite a quick run, despite popping out first on the line and things like that. So the third timed run, I was more bothered about going easy on the gear linkage, slotting it into gear rather than worrying about changing quickly and things like that, and I did a 75 second on that run, so nowhere near quick by anyone's stretch of any made up imagination, but still it kind of shows to me that the tyres have made a bit of difference. I had a lot more confidence in the car. Once there was a bit of heat in the tyres, I felt I could lean on them a little bit more. Saturday and Sunday were really cold days, to say we're at the beginning of May, especially overnight. So it did take majority of the course to get heat into the tyres, which isn't brilliant really. But the changes I made to the rear suspension softened the shocks up, the softer compound tyres, and the pretty consistent times I was running, apart from the gear linkage issue, does show that there is a lot more to come out of the car. The gearbox I spoke about in the last update, with the GTI ratios in, is what is really holding me up now, I think. If I find myself with some spare money in a couple of months' time, then I'm going to swap the diff out of the GTI box into my Series 2 106 rally box. That, I think that the amount of time I would lose changing gear more often with the rally box, I would gain in the lower ratios and the acceleration that I gain. But my plan now is just to do enough to keep the car going for the rest of the season, not worry too much about developing it or modifying it much more. Wait till the end of the season and stockpile a little bit of cash each month and do everything over winter, and a bit of a refresh on everything. Although the car's just been finished built, the engine hasn't been touched, the gearbox hasn't been touched, and the shocks and things like that haven't been touched at all. So any more major changes like that are gonna wait till winter. I'm just gonna keep the car ticking over, keep entering the events, and get used to how the car goes and improve my times on what I've got. car anymore, or develop the car anymore. Though a couple of issues that I do need to look at. Last weekend was particularly cold for me, so the race cell battery didn't hold up brilliantly. It was struggling to start and things like that, and it wasn't quite holding enough charge to get it cranked over properly. So I'm looking at, I've got a leisure battery that I use for jump starting it. Because it's a leisure battery, I ain't got enough cranking amps to overcome the lack of power in the race cell. So I'm looking at a battery off a diesel van, or like a diesel people carrier, something like that, with a bigger engine, a lot more cranking power. The one I've looked at has got about 800 cranking amp, which should give me more than enough to use as a jump starting battery. Ideally, I'd rather the onboard battery did all the work, but if I can plug that in and just make life a little bit easier for me, then I'll do that. That'll be probably the best option. I also noticed one of the front brake lines is getting quite close to the wheel, and it's not catching on the wheel, but as the wheel turns and the suspension moves up and down, the brake line is rubbing against the inner wheel arch. It's not rubbing through the brake line, and it's not affecting the brakes, or it's not going through the braid itself or anything like that. It's just scratching on the inner wheel arch. More for peace of mind than anything, I'm gonna try and reposition that, just so there's less that potentially could go wrong with that. Last thing I need is for me not to notice that for a few runs, for it to nip, and obviously the brakes start leaking, and I'm oh shit creek basically. That's about it really. The changes that I've made to the car, I've worked. Softened the rear end up. Once the tyres were scrubbed in, I could feel that wasn't quite as skittish as it was before. So that's a bonus. That's a bonus. The next meeting is the 3rd and 4th of June. I'm not sure that I'm going to enter both days. I'm going to see how money goes, but I'm definitely entering at least one of them. More than likely Sunday the 4th of June. I'll probably marshal the other day if I don't enter both. Not a lot to prepare the car for then. I've got a couple of bits to look at on the trailer that I've borrowed. Bit of patching up and just get it a little bit more presentable for taking the car up to Harewood. And I think that's about it really. Not a brilliant last meeting, but hopefully some progress made towards the next one, and hopefully with the reasonably consistent times I've got now, I can start chipping away at them with the new tyres scrubbed in and things like that. Hopefully start making a little bit of progress. We'll see how things go. As from me, that's all for now, and I will update you probably when I'm in the unit sorting the car out. If not, I'll update you at the next event. Gonna try and do some filming at the next event, a couple more batteries for the camera, another memory card and things like that, just to bulk up the footage, hopefully making it a bit more interesting for you. But that's it, until next time, keep watching, thank you very much, take care.